Bart Simpson is often seen as a little chaotic psycho that would do anything for a prank, but it hits different when we see that behavior is his way to cope with being the unwanted child, and how he carries that trauma and resentment throughout his entire life. A young Bart lays on the grass with his father. He asks questions with that characteristic curiosity that children have, like why is the sky blue and all that. But Homer's responses are completely uninspired, even for his big balding ape head. But then Homer wants to ask his young son a very important question. Why did he leave his toys on the front step? Because I don't know, it kinda looks like Homer is only on the ground because he has gotten a little more than just a scratch, and he can't get back up. In this very first scene, we can see how that kid curiosity wasn't received with patience or interest. Sometimes kids are asking very specific questions because they want to connect in an innocent way. They try to understand the world through the eyes of the most important figure in his life at that moment. Even though, I gotta be honest, children can be annoying sometimes. I'm just being honest. Due to the apparently not so little injuries Homer got, Bart has to stay with his grandfather. Bart finally got a break from his dumb face. A face not even a father can love.
Do it again, boy. I bet he can't control it.
Ow!
He's looking to spend some quality time with his grandfather, who loves him in a very different manner, since he can provide more attention to him, although not too much since he can't bend down without breaking 4 vertebrae. So instead introduces his prize car to the young boy. Now Bart can experience reckless parenting, and he seems to enjoy it. His grandfather lets him drive the car. This makes the two really connect, since he's finally getting from him the positive attention he was craving. Bro, even the old man enjoys more spending time with his grandson than with his own son. And we see this when Bart wishes that day to never end, to which Grandpa, with his senile but full of experienced mind, tells him a harsh truth. Time won't stop. The years go by and you don't even realize it. And then the episode cuts 2 years later, really making Abe's point strong about the fleeting nature of life, foreshadowing one of the main points of the episode, how time escapes and doesn't wait for anyone. 2 years later, we see Grandpa being a passenger princess since Bart's driving the car on his own. Tough situations since none of them can legally drive. Now Bart is a little older. He should be able to read, but the boy fails to show any signs of intelligence, even though his baby sister, Lisa, is already reading and seems much smarter. So Flynn pulls out a wild comment.
Not to worry, you won't need to read. You see, customers will just point to a picture of the burger that they want you to flip.
That honestly was good, but I don't really know if you can say that to a little child. Bart's starting to get annoyed by all the praise Lisa's getting. Everyone likes her better. Even Marge prefers Lisa's drawings over Bart's handiwork, mainly because it's over the curtains and basically everywhere. The boy tries to show his art skills to his parents as well as in an attempt to impress them. He drew everyone, all the members of the family, as an attempt of being noticed. That was not understood but rather punished.
But do you like my drawing?
But Marge can tell that Bart wants to hear some praise, and she urges Homer to swallow his pride and say something positive for once.
Well, it's a colorful example of something that ruined our kitchen!
It is clear that Homer does not like how much trouble Bart, and Bart himself is upset how much his parents hate him. Later on, Homer manages to paint over the kitchen, and it actually looks better than before. But his hard work is ruined by Bart smashing the family cart into the kitchen and destroying everything, including Homer's hair follicles for stress. This is the last straw for Homer and Marge, so they decide to go to a psychologist for some help. The psychologist probably charged them a lot to say the most obvious things. She believes that Bart's disruptive behavior is caused by Homer's neglect. Wow, who would have thought? And the only way to rectify the situation is a forced spree where Bart and Homer can't even get away from each other. Yeah, Homer's not too keen on the idea, but the psychologist is a little too persistent and the man has no choice. Soon, Bart and Homer are off on their binding trip. Bart seems super excited and he has packed all manners of things for the trip, but Homer ends up being another disappointment. Instead of taking his son to the actual woods, he decides that Bart would be content with camping out at a motel. Damn! Even though Bart is disappointed, Homer doesn't even try to cheer up his son. They spend most of their time in the room, where Homer watches TV and Bart plays along with his camping gear. It is definitely a depressing sight. Later on, the father and son return back, and Bart pretends that he had a good time on his camping tree. She didn't give much importance to the matter, but Lisa shares the Student of the Month sticker she received from her teachers, and now Bart is even more upset. He feels neglected and storms off. Homer thinks this is a prime opportunity to grab Bart's cake. Homer in this episode is an exaggerated symbol of neglect. He doesn't know his son, doesn't take interest in him, and doesn't offer the encouragement Bart desperately needs. Children construct their identity from the reflections they see in their parents' eyes. Bart, seeing little more than indifference or irritation in Homer, begins to believe he's inherently flawed. When your own father doesn't believe in you, it's hard to believe in yourself. Marge, while more nurturing, is unintentionally complicit. She too places her emotional bets on Lisa, reinforcing the family's narrative that Bart is destined for mediocrity. Bart is sulking in his room when Homer shows up with a half-eaten dessert. Homer tells Bart that he will eventually enjoy having a sister, but Bart knows that his parents will always like the overachiever better than his sorry ass, and he wants Homer to prove his sincerity by putting up a sticker Bart made for the family car. And the following morning, Bart can see Homer deciding whether he should put up the ugly sticker Bart gave to him, but in the end, distracted, he drops it on the floor without noticing. Oh man, this kind of neglect is what leads young men to despicable perversions like AI girlfriends and Marvel rival players. That tiny moment, Homer dropping the sticker, was crucial in a hurtful way. Homer had a golden chance just to pick it up, stick it on the car, and show Bart he cared. But by letting it fall, even if he didn't mean to, he sent a brutal message. Not even that little piece of Bart was worth his attention. It might have been the last time Bart offered his heart so openly. After that, something in their bond quietly changed, and it never really went back. A couple of more years passed, and Bart is now 12. His family holds a small celebration, but Bart is disappointed by the cake. His parents still think he's a kid, and don't treat him any better. Before Bart can even cut the cake, Lisa interrupts everyone by announcing that she has been Student of the Month for 48 consecutive months. This is the last straw for Bart, and he storms off once more. Homer makes a half-assed attempt at stopping Bart, but the boy ends up spending the entire night taking out all the street lights with Milhouse. Unfortunately, Bart and Milhouse get caught by the police, but only Milhouse gets arrested, because Bart is smart enough to hide in his grandfather's room in the senior home. Bart watches Milhouse experience police brutality, but none of that matters, because Bart receives a BMX bike from his grandfather, a present that he actually liked. His parents didn't give him one because they thought it was dangerous, but Grandpa understands that he has to take risks young and use his huge energy now that he has it, instead of repress it like everyone tells him to do. And instead of boring ass books and academic shit, now the worthless kid can become good at something. At 15, Bart can make 6 stunts on the bike. You might be mad, but I actually like skate stunts better, although I suck at both. Apparently, Lisa is off to a pre-medical summer camp, and Marge and Homer are fussing over her more. But Marge still wants Homer to pay attention to Bart, even though the edgy teenager has no intention of getting comforted by his father. Homer spends a grand total of 5 seconds speaking to Bart, and then heads over to Moe's Tavern. With Homer gone, Bart can finally throw a party at his house. And soon his house is just a set for a generic teenage party. There are people drinking, dancing, and Milhouse with a tattoo, but still that will not help in getting late because the girl walks away disgusted. Quite the opposite for Bart, since he makes out with Sherry, but he realizes that he has been sucking the face of the wrong twin.
But the further we go, the more you'll know the difference.
Bart quickly escapes but notices the smell of weed coming from his room. That will get him in a lot of trouble. So Bart rushes towards the door to bust the idiots who are smoking indoors. But he finds something even more disturbing. Homer and Chief Wiggum are both high as hell, and for once the responsible one is Bart himself, and while the adults are having high thoughts. Bart confronts his father for never being in sync with his own son. And for the first time, Homer is honest as well. He gets real, telling Bart that he became a father when he was young and feels exactly like Bart.
I was terrified because it meant I wasn't a kid anymore. I had responsibilities. Truth is, I'm just like you.
He did not know how to take on this responsibility and only wanted his family to love and admire him. Homer's honesty is refreshing, and even Bart's move. The father and son end up hugging each other. Basically, he's telling his dad, "You never gave a damn about me. You never have faith in me." And Homer, for once, gets it. Too bad it is too late. Years of Homer's silent disapproval have already messed Bart up pretty badly. And Homer finds a way to ruin this moment again by insulting Bart and his lack of a promising future. Bart storms off for the third time. In his pain, he seeks refuge with the only person who truly accepts him and validated him when he needed the most. But of that person, only a grave remains. He's there for some advice. Even in death, Grandpa F keeps talking nonsense, but his main advice to Bart is that he should find what he loves and follow it until he becomes successful. These words are exactly what Bart needed to hear. And soon Bart is taking part in the BMX bike competition. Bart is excited for the competition because it will be the first achievement he can call on his own. And he only requires one more victory to win the tournament. Bart arrives on the ramp determined to have a victory for himself. His stunt seems to be going smoothly, even making some noodles midair. But Bart then notices Lisa's shadow on the ramp, and his entire victory falls apart. Lisa ends up reviving Bart, and now the entire tournament is all of a sudden centered around Lisa. Bart has never felt more miserable in his life. A couple of more years pass, and now Bart is older. He spends his time painting on the pier for money because a job application is truly terrifying. Milhouse is about to graduate high school and he wants Bart to join his graduation party, but he's doubtful about it since Lisa, being younger, graduates the same year as him. As the episode moves forward in time, we see how his childhood neglect calcifies into adult insecurity. Even though Bart is embarrassed, he still makes an appearance, which makes Milhouse glad. But the party quickly turns awkward when Milhouse's parents start bickering in front of everyone.
Family and a few people we hired to make our son look more popular.
This embarrassment causes Milhouse to feel even more pathetic, but Lisa cheers him up and even gives him a kiss. Milhouse completely forgets the bro code and starts praising Lisa, and the little simpleton calls her the most amazing thing at his party. Bart is now pleased by the endless Lisa glazing. He is sick of everyone, even his friends constantly turning their attentions towards Lisa.
Ugh, I'm not even the best Simpson at my best friend's party.
Bart's meltdown causes Lisa to lose her shit as well, and she finally tells her brother that he has a lot of talents as well. He's just too lazy to actually work on those skills. Lisa believes that if Bart stopped whining like a little bitch and actually worked on his skills, maybe he could achieve something. She also tells her that his miserable life, the same one he regrets so much, is actually the greatest treasure for an artist. This is the type of reality check that Bart really needed in life. In the middle of this resentment and anger, he actually finds a path to follow, leaving behind the victim mentality. What's good is that this episode doesn't villainize Lisa. Her success isn't the problem, it's the way Bart is measured against it. It is important to understand that we cannot measure ourselves with the same yardstick.
It's not the size of the pennant, it's what you do with it.
A few more years pass and Bart is now the owner of a BMX bike store, a passion found thanks to his grandpa. He also does art and is very successful in his profession. Bart then learns that Lisa and Nelson are dating. When Lisa visits Bart's store, it shows them a mural depicting his life, but she is disappointed to see the lack of her presence in any of his art. This first piece of art shows how that part of his life, that wound he felt always on her shadow, but there's a revelation. Bart doesn't try to comfort Lisa but offers to buy her a drink. Before leaving, Lisa notices the big detailed mural Bart made of her, and it's signed by Alberto. This is significant because it's Bart using his art, that talent Lisa pointed out in the middle of a fight, to draw the line where he healed his own wounds. Barto's signature connects with his villain and rebellious arc, and now his redemption and mature arc, showing that he has integrated all parts of himself, where the art expresses what Bart couldn't say with words. We see how the two siblings ended up sharing a beautiful bond after all, and then we're back where it all started. Bart and Homer lying in the grass, under the sky. Bart still asking important questions.
Why aren't we moving?
Because you're drunk and I'm stoned.
In this moment we can see how they're close, but never quite connected. And this is the reality of things. Sometimes this actually happens, and it is my case, where you can actually love and respect, in this case, your father. You love them from distance, but you don't really connect that much. It's not a happy ending, but it's real. A quiet acceptance of our bond that is flawed, but it's still there.